weekends I'd go load trucks overnight to make extra money. So when I was 17, I moved out. I had my own apartment. I had a car. I had a motorcycle. And ain't many 17-year-olds do that.
Mm-mm.
So I worked all the time. And I was very, very mechanically inclined. And so I used to work on my cars myself. Did just about everything on my car myself. And my motorcycles.
And this was, how old were you when you first got your motorcycle?
17. That was my first one.
So you were in...
I was in high school. I just graduated when I bought it.
You just graduated high school. So that would have been 19 what?
65.
Okay. So how was the teaching back in the day? What were the courses you took? What were the courses you took in school?
In high school, I wanted to go. I got my mother and dad to let me go to a private school, a all-boys Catholic military high school. And my agreement with them, they paid my tuition, and I paid for everything else. I paid for my books, my uniforms. I worked in the cafeteria at school even, and to make where I could have free lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And so I worked pretty much all the way through school. But I went to a Catholic military school, all boys. Got a college prep education. They expected everybody that went to school there to go to college somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I did not. I went in the Marine Corps instead. One of the interesting facts was out of 74 graduating seniors with me, 12 of us went in the Marine Corps, that's a pretty good percentage of Marines in our class. And a few other Air Force and a couple Army guys in there, but the biggest number was all Marines. So I worked all the way through school, so I could have what I wanted. I bought my first car myself with money I made on the paper route, and that's hard to do.
How many bundles of papers did you?
I had a route of 130 a day. 130. I had 130 or so customers, give or take one or two.
Were you driving or riding a bike?
Ride the bike. I threw it on a bicycle. I was 14 when I started. I didn't have a car. I didn't have the car until I turned almost 17 before I had enough money to buy a car. I was driving my dad's car son before when I was 16. I got my driver's license the first day I turned 16. We were there at 8 o'clock that morning when I took my driver's test to get a driver's license.
Did they teach you how to drive in school back then?
Not anywhere school I went to, no, they didn't have that. No, it was all college prep stuff. However, I took it during summer school over at Druid Hills High School, because I flunked Spanish, and I had to make it up in the summer. And while I was there, I said, well, I got to do something else. So they had a driver's ed course too, so I took it too at the same time.
Did you learn?
It was just before I got my driver's license.
Oh, wow.
So when I got my driver's license, man, I was prepped for that. I got a 98 on my driver's test. Only got dropped 2 points. And it kind of ticked me off.
What were the 2 points? What'd you do?
When you parallel park back into a spot, you get in it, and then when you pull back out, you put your blinker on, and you look back, and you're supposed to put your hand out too. Well, I didn't put my hand out, the blinker's on. So, because I did put my hand out indicating a left turn, then he knocked me off 2 points. And when I backed into the part to the parallel, I just zipped right in. It's just, if you slow down, it's easier. I said, then I got it. Because even today, I back into my driveway every time I come here. Where I live now, I'm on a highway, so I back into my driveway. So I back up. I think I back up just as good as policemen back up in a parking place. Pretty good at that.
Yeah. So, okay, so after that, now we're going to skip to the military life. I would love, since the U.S. is going to be 250 years this July 4th, since this country's been active as the United States of America, I would love to know more, because a lot of people don't know much about the Vietnam War, or people want to talk about Vietnam or anything like that. So I would love for you to tell me more about the Vietnam War and what you had to endure and things like that.
Okay. Well, I mentioned earlier, even when I was in grammar school, I wanted to be a Marine. I didn't join right so as soon as I got out of high school. I was still 17. My birthday's in the summer, so I didn't have to register for the draft, which we all had to do these days, until I turned 18. And so I got an apartment with a buddy of mine. He got his draft notice, so he went and joined the Air Force and took off. So I moved in with some other friends of mine in an apartment. And then he got his draft notice and he joined the Navy. And so I got an apartment by myself, 1 bedroom at this lady's house. The best deal I ever had. $50 a month for rent. I had an upstairs bedroom and bath all to myself with top. Didn't have a kitchen, but heck, by that time I was 18, it didn't make any difference, you know. I didn't cook anyway. And so that was a hell of a deal that she'd do my laundry for me. But then,
Wow.
She was charging me 10 cents a shirt and 10 cents a pair of pants to do my laundry. And then she'd fold it up and leave it on my bed whenever I left it outside my door. That was good, but the draft board was coming. And I joined the Marine Corps in February of 1965.
So did they send you a letter in the mail saying you've been drafted or anything like that?
Yep.
What were your thoughts?
Well, I do just like Benny and Ronnie did, go down and join what I wanted instead of doing what they wanted. I wasn't going to be in the Army.
Did you think, oh, hell, here we go? Or
Well, I knew it was coming. I mean, anybody in 1965 or 6 or 7 that did not go to college or was not married, buddy, you're getting drafted, period. There wasn't much way around it.
And what was the reasoning of Vietnam?
Oh yeah, Vietnam was ramping up big time in 65, 66. It was ramping up. And so, I joined the Marine Corps, I went to boot camp, went to ITR, Infantry Training Regiment up in North Carolina. And that's where I met my best friend. Wade Kelly and I joined the Marine Corps together. That day we met in Atlanta, and we've been friends ever since. We went to boot camp together and ITR together. Then went to Memphis, Tennessee, at Aviation A School together. And then down to Jacksonville, Florida, the Aviation Ordnance School together. And we didn't join on the buddy system, but we were close. We were together more than any buddy system we ever were. And so we went to, after that Aviation Ordnance School in Jacksonville, then I got orders for Cherry Point, North Carolina. That was the first operating squadron that I was in. I was on the aviation side, and I was in the A4 squadron in North Carolina. However, a little side note there, I shot expert rifle at boot camp, and they had tryouts for the Second Wing Air Wing rifle and pistol team the spring of '67. Now, I guess it was. And I went out since I shot expert. The squadron let me go try out for the team. I made the team. And then I got shooting that whole summer of '67. I was off shooting the whole summer. That's what I did from early morning to night, every day, practice. Shot the rifle in the morning, went to chow, came back, and shot the 45 in the afternoon. 5 days a week. And on weekends, we'd go shoot matches.
What kind of food did they serve you?
When the mess hall?
Wherever during training.
We ate in the same mess hall. Oh, well, boot camp was the same thing. You got a mess hall in boot camp. You had a mess hall in Jacksonville. You had a mess hall at Camp Lejeune. You had a mess hall at Cherry Point. Same mess hall. 10 trays. Get your silverware. And go down there and stick the tray out and put something on it if you want it, or don't, and you just keep moving down the line and fill your tray up with.
So it was a cafeteria style.
Yeah, that's how mess hall was set up. But I never ate on plates until the first time I went to Yuma, Arizona, and the mess hall out there they had plates and glasses. Well, for Marines, that's what I'm using. You just get a tin tray to throw stuff on. But, so once I got through with shooting in 1967, after the Eastern Division matches, where I also went to sniper school while I was at Camp Lejeune doing that, and I got my MWES, my second MWES to 8531 marksmanship instructor, and I did that the whole time I was in the Marine Corps. I was the rifle and pistol instructor in every squadron I was in. The whole time I was in the Marine Corps, I was the trainer. I trained everybody. I had trained.
What was your military number? Do you remember it? You know, your dog tag number?
Oh yeah.
You remember it?
I don't think anybody could fit that. But you know, my service number, which is not now they use the Social Security number. But when I was in, we didn't do. They had a different number. Mine was real easy. 225 6767.
Wow.
Real simple.
Right.
But so then when I went back to the squadron, then after shooting that summer, about 4 months, and then worked on aircraft, and then got orders in November '67 to go to Vietnam. And so
When you set foot in Vietnam, what did you think? Did you think this is going to be like, oh, here we go. This is going to be, this is the real shit now.
This is ironically or whatever. I got to Vietnam in the end of January of 1968. I got married just before I went to Vietnam and left the country 7 days after I got married. I got my girlfriend pregnant, so we got married. Anyway, so away I went. And I got to Vietnam first we went from California to Okinawa, spent a couple days in Okinawa, and then went down to Da Nang, spent the night in Da Nang in like January the 29th, possibly. 28th or 29th, one or two. July where I was doing A4 squadron. And when I got there, they told me, don't get your 782 gear. 782 gear is a rifle, cartridge belt, helmet, flak jacket.
What's a flak jacket?
Flak jacket.
What is that?
Bulletproof jacket.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't know what that was?
No.
Yeah, we wore flak jackets everywhere.
Okay.
You know,
We call it bulletproof coats now, but whatever.
that's called, they call it a flak jacket. I don't know how bulletproof it was. I didn't get to test mine out there. Thank goodness. But, so the first couple of days I was there, I did not have anything, a weapon or nothing, because the guys in the squadron told me it was quiet there. But then Tet, in 1968 happened on January 31st, 1968. All hell broke loose. I mean, it rained rockets. They were trying to blow us off the face of the earth. That was an interesting night for me. I never thought after that night, during that night, I thought there's no way I could survive this. I didn't. Thank goodness. But, it was no helmet, no rifle, no nothing. You know, I was.
I'm assuming you had to unfortunately shoot people, right?
I had occasion to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you told me earlier, before we started recording all this, that you were in bunkers most of the time and all that.
Anytime there was a rocket attack, you got in your bunker as quickly as possible. If you could get into your bunker, we had bunkers beside our huts. We lived in a screen wire hut with a metal roof and plywood doors and stuff. And then between each hut, there'd be a bunker that group of people in that hut would build, and everybody had different grades of bunkers. Now, Wade Kelly, the guy I mentioned before, was with me in Vietnam, and Terry Tiernan, another good close friend of mine, was in the same hut with me in Vietnam, and we built a badass bunker. We got bomb fuse cans. They're big metal cans, and filled them with sand, and had tight lids, watertight lids and stuff on them, and like laid them like bricks in the hole. We dig a hole and laid them in like bricks in the hole, and made a bunker out of that with steps down into it, and then went over to the helicopter runway and stole about 4 pieces of runway off the end of the runway and put them on top of our bunker as a roof, metal, aluminum runway basically, and put it on top of our bunker, and then put sandbag layer on top of that, and then metal pallets on top of the sandbags, and then another layer of sandbags on top of those pallets. So we figured that we could take a direct hit from a rocket and survive it if we got in our bunkers. Because that's pretty much how bad luck would run. A rocket could hit anywhere on the base.
Right.
You didn't know where it was going to land. And once you hear them, and we'd wake up, Tiernan and I